True crime. From cold cases to serial killers, missing persons, and more.
100% he did this.
I'd go off into fantasy world.
How much more lucky can you get that you're not on death row?
You want to know what we know.
My name is Jade. This is Guilty of Crime.
Hello, crime crew. We're all dedicated here on a Friday night. Hello again. Welcome back. And I wanted to talk about this because it weighs heavy on me and probably everybody else. Do you think this is a crime of complicity? Do we know what that means in the eyes of the law? I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what complicity means, how it relates to Jen. I want to talk about Jen. I want to talk about Stephan. I want to talk about why we can't find many pictures of Jen and Stephan together alone without Madeline SOTO, or even just with a couple. It's really weird. I was looking for that right now and I was like, wait, what? So anyway, I'm going to say hello to everybody. But I also want to, as everybody probably knows by now, because you guys were probably watching this as I was talking, you were probably watching the new Plunder True Crime. So I'm going to pull that up. We're going to start with that so we can see the things that Stephan Stearns was connected to and figure out if he was connected to them. Then what does that mean for Jen SOTO? Like how is she connected to him or that? I mean, they were together for what, 7-8 years? We'll get the timeline. But how does she connect to him? And why is it even a possibility or a thought when I get an email saying that Jen's going to be the state witness? She's going to be the main witness in the state. How does that, I'm not connecting the two, and let's try to connect the two because I'm not being biased. I just want to figure this out with you. I want to talk about if this is a crime of complicity and what that means in the eyes of the law. I want to find out how the two connect together. I want to show you Jen SOTO's marriage license. You probably saw that. If you didn't, we'll find it together on Reddit. Let's listen to what Paula has to say on Plunder. Yeah, somebody said they messaged me a long message saying she's not guilty of anything. She's going to be a state witness. We're all just coming at her, whatever. And I email me all you want, but I feel like I'm getting inside information when people say that, like they know. So I want to hear what Davey says. Their relationship is one of business and the case will be a RICO case. Okay. I'll have to look up a RICO case, but I'm not a lawyer or anything. I'm actually just hosting a channel. I have a passion and I love true crime. So everything's alleged and this is for entertainment purposes only. Everybody, let's listen to this and then I'll be able to pull up all the other things and we'll talk about how Stephan Stearns joined a wild dating website 8 days after offending Madeline SOTO and all the other things. And where does Jen fall into this? She was with him. She called him the stepfather and they called each other wife and husband. How is she so far back from what he's doing in all of these crimes and at the same time not connected? Means white collar crime, I think. Okay. Well, yeah. How is she? RICO law. You can use to convict members of a criminal organization without evidence. Well, I don't know how there's not going to, be evidence because the two are so tied together, but yet she's so far apart and she's going to be a state witness. I just want to know how. So let's talk it through. Let's talk about all the things. I also want to talk about mandatory reporting of abuse. It was updated in June 2023 in Florida, and it's everyone is a mandatory reporter. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to go over all this. As long as you're here, I'm here. Thank you, Nina, for this super sticker. Let's watch this because it just came out. And then we'll talk about how close Jennifer SOTO do we think is actually tied to Stephan Stearns?
For Stephan Stearns on a website called FetLife, which is described as the world's largest and most popular social network for the bondage community. And for those folks with certain fetishes and kinks, I bit the bullet and set up an account, much to my own chagrin, and not to kink shame anyone, but I had to follow my journalistic instincts to see what I could find out about the man accused of ending the life of his girlfriend's 13-year-old daughter, Madeline SOTO. I'm going to keep this video as safe for work as possible, and I don't recommend anyone going to visit that website. It is intriguing that I only learned of someone finding Stearns on the website via Reddit and web sleuths, and not because I saw it in a subpoena or court documents anywhere, so I hope investigators are hot on the trail of Stearns' activity on the website. In fact, the notice of supplemental discovery for Stearns' case lists everything but this dating website specifically by name. There are lists of incident reports, applications, and affidavits for search.
And we appreciate Paula for doing this. And now you know why it's so complicated, not complicit, complicated, and why Jen SOTO hasn't been named as the state witness or anything really that she said, or what's her role, or how the two are tied together. Is there a possibility that Jennifer SOTO and Stephan Stearns did it together? Well, police off the cuff sure seems to think so, because the last few days it's been nonstop for hours talking about how these two could have done it together. There's so many theories, and yet we don't have anything solid. So let's finish watching this and we'll talk about how is she tied to him so closely, yet not tied to this crime at all. And she was so blind and, mentally disabled and all this other stuff, anxiety, and she was knocked out and didn't know anything, but yet, then what ties her to be with him for so long and hand her child over? I'm curious, so help me out.
Warrants for a Fitbit account, digital content belonging to Stearns, an Apple account associated with Jennifer SOTO and Madeline SOTO, a search warrant for life storage, an Amazon order, and even Stearns' dad's timeline. While I see search warrants for Discord, I don't see ones for dating websites specifically. As we know from previous research, Stearns used the name Sustanet on Reddit as his handle. According to the dating website, Sustanet joined FetLife on August 23, 2022. That same day, he followed a user named Alexa Lee, who describes herself as a 100% natural-born sinner and a person who loved bruises, among other things. No other activity, photos, videos, writings, or anything can be seen conducted by Stearns on the site, save for joining the announcements community. He only has the standard question mark as his user profile. Curiously, Stearns listed the word switch next to his handle, which is someone who is willing to take on either a dominant or submissive role in a sexual relationship.
Isn't that interesting, though? So he was with Jennifer SOTO. Thank you, JoJo, for the gifted membership. Everybody, make sure your settings are available for gifts. Now, how does he have this whole entire life that has fetishes and websites and dating, but he's with Jen for a really long time? He lives there. They're all in the same bedroom at the same time for years. She doesn't see his phone. Doesn't she have sex with him too? Doesn't she know that he has fetishes? Isn't she involved in any of that part of his life? Or are we just not? I'm not sure. I'm still confused, so I'm going to work this out.
Further clues that this indeed is likely Stearns' account is the fact that he listed himself as a 38-year-old straight male from Kissimmee, Florida, in the United States. Stearns was born on April 25, 1986, which indeed makes him a 38-year-old male right now. Why would he list his real birthday and location? I don't know. I just automatically put my real birth date in the website out of habit, but I didn't list my real location. What is significant about Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022, the day Stearns joined the site? Why did Stearns go through the trouble of setting up an account and following the self-dubbed Twisted Temptress Alexa Lee that same day, the only person he appears to have followed? Did he meet her in person? Did he share any deep, dark secrets and messages with her? Or did he just admire her from his glowing screen? Well, if Maddie was indeed beginning her 6th grade year at Hunters Creek Middle School back then, she would have been in school that day, since the school year started on August 10, 2022.
That is a really good point, Profe Frere. How you ever say it? Profe Frere. The meds of anxiety often inhibit sexual desire and pleasure. So you think she just sat back and kind of let him do whatever? It did inhibit him, and he did say that. Absolutely. It caused him not to be able to take in the ADHD. But where was Jen in all this? Now, she said she made sure to say when she went through Maddie's phone to check everything, and she was up and up with the boy she was interested in, and she even went through the messages that were deleted. So she didn't do that with Stephan Stearns. You think she was just like out of it the whole time while all this was happening? And I'm just working it out with everybody. And I'm curious, everybody, I believe she was directly involved with the unaliving, and that's what we're trying to work out together. And we're going to go through some things, go through her background as well with her marriage, and then we can see when the marriage stopped and when kind of around the time she started dating Stephan, when the ex-roommate moved out, CM, all of this stuff. Let's work it out together. So if you guys want to come up and say on the chat that you think that she's not involved, or she was, she's a victim too, let me know. Let's talk about it.
Count 8 of Stearns' charges lists a battery offense against her on August 15, 2022, only 8 days prior to joining the naughty website. His next charge, Count 9, lists a date of offense of nearly an entire year later on June 14, 2023. Although the dates of the offenses are not in order in court documents and not listed chronologically, it seems as though Stearns may not have offended Maddie for nearly an entire year following August 15th, 2022. Is that because Stearns and Jennifer were on a break during that time? Was he living with his parents? Or do cops just not have any photographic or video evidence of offenses during that time period? Is that why he turned to the website? It would be very interesting to hear if Stearns shared any messages, videos, photos, or other information with Alexa Lee. Here's hoping cops have already gone down that line of investigation. In the meantime,
now, this is one of the biggest cases probably that's ever going to happen again for a long time. And Madeline SOTO, in my opinion, is the only victim here. And I feel really deep empathy and sorrow for Tyler and Tatiana and the family and the friends and everybody, even the whole world that's mourning. And when someone says this is getting ugly, it's been ugly. And I'm not the only one talking about it. There's so many creators talking about it. And I'm definitely trying to be as respectful as I can, but while telling the truth that we have. So I want to work this out so that I don't get so many messages behind the scenes telling me things that I'm trying to be open with now. And we're talking about now. So we can talk about it now. If you have something to say now, let's talk about it. Definitely. And then we'll get into the crime of complicity and how that is directly tied, what we should do when we see something, say something, all of that. Let's talk about all of it. Let's just get it all on the table.
days after offending Maddie and days prior to joining that dating website, Stearns, as Sustene, was on Reddit, complaining about his meds and dry, happy endings. On Thursday, August 18th, 2022, Stearns responded to question that asked men, "How good is your ability to have multiple orgasms while keeping yourself from ejaculating?" Sustene wrote, like, non-existent? I don't know how you intentionally have an orgasm without ejaculating other than clenching hard or pinching it off, or why you would want to, as that kind of orgasm, known as a dry.
All right, now trigger warning already, because this is, we're already covering the case a lot. Thank you, Paula, from Plunder, from bringing this and putting it in one spot. And Michelle says, I think she went along with anything just to keep him around so she wouldn't be alone. It's sick as it is. And that could be 100% the truth, but I'm trying to figure out in the eyes of the law, where does that fall into her culpability? And should we just stop talking about it and wait until court comes? I'm not 100% clear on where that line gets drawn. So, I'll just tell you now, in criminal law, in case you don't know, complicity refers to the act of helping, encouraging, or soliciting another individual to commit a crime. Common law often uses the term aiding and abetting to describe the concept. When someone is complicit in committing criminal conduct, they become an accomplice. Although an accomplice doesn't directly commit the crime, like Kayla Montgomery. Their actions contribute to its commission. Here are some of the key points about complicity. So, accomplice complicity or accomplice liability means that an accomplice faces the same criminal liability and culpability as the person who actually committed the crime. The penalties for aiding and abetting, now this is going to be different in different states, depend on the underlying offense. For instance, if a primary charge is a misdemeanor, both accomplice and the main perpetrator will be charged with a misdemeanor. We know it's not a misdemeanor in this case. So I just am trying to figure out the complicity and what it is for Jen Soto and how the two are tied. It's not like he lived somewhere else. Stephan Stearns lived somewhere else, and he saw Jen once in a while, and she wasn't in a relationship with him. Meaning in all ways, right? Emotionally, physically, mentally, or maybe they weren't. I could totally be wrong about this. So, if she went along with him, what kind of charge would that look like? In my opinion, Jen is selfish. Her depression or anxiety or bipolar, it's all about her being a victim. Someone like that can't protect anyone. Just turn them into another victim. Poor Maddie. All right, let's work this out together and see what their ties might be. And we'll find out sooner or later. And she'll either be a Kayla Montgomery or a Casey Anthony.
Orgasm is not only extremely unsatisfying, but not really healthy either, as it can lead to issues that cause infertility. Look up retrograde ejaculation. It's not fun. Let your swimmers fly free and train yourself to keep going after that if you want to try for multiples as a man. He went on to explain how the medication he took had an impact on his private life, all very troubling in light of his criminal charges. Stearns continued, writing, I used to take Adderall every day, and an unfortunate side effect of that medication for me was dry orgasms. Something down there got all clenched up while I was on the stuff and pinched off the flow, causing retrograde ejaculation. And I can tell you for sure that it is the most frustrating and unsatisfying kind of orgasm.
Yeah, this is terrible to hear about this now. This is just his life and his digging into his social media, and then someone does a crime and it comes out later. So right now we're talking about Jennifer Soto and Stephan Stearns and their relationship, how what he does ties into what she does. It's like I'm married for 19 years in July. And if my wife does something or I do something, it falls on her, and both of us will have some kind of liability or culpability or ties to it. There has to be, unless they weren't living together and all kinds of other circumstances, right? So there's going to be text messages between the two. There's going to be all kinds of things. And Jennifer Soto knows more than she acts like if she knows how to find text messages that are deleted and then deleted behind that. So yeah, I think she's pretty smart.
There is when there is no accompanying feeling of release. Even worse, if it happens often enough, it can train your body to just keep doing whether you want to or not. Maybe Stearns meant just keep going whether you want to or not. Remember when Stearns told the cops about taking Ativan for anxiety? Well, he didn't mention Adderall. It's not clear when he stopped taking it, but it makes sense that people might be tempted to attempt to use Adderall's focus-improving effects to treat anxiety symptoms. Adderall is an uncommon treatment for anxiety and can actually make anxiety symptoms worse. Stearns wrote, I had to retrain myself to be able to release normally again. It sucks. There is no scientifically proven health benefit to fully denying yourself to ejaculate. There are benefits to edging and stamina training, certainly, but not releasing at all? Nah. Any benefits there are potential.
Like, so why does he do this? Why does he post on his Sustanet account? And so in one post, he's posting about those little toys that he has. Okay, so you have a personality, and in one personality he's posting, it's the same character in this and it's not a character, it's real life. So he posted a lot about these toys and working at Disney World and all this other stuff. And with the same account, he's also posting about these things. He posts a lot about his his girlfriend's daughter. So it's just connecting these two. This is Stephan Stearns, and nobody caught it. And maybe Jen didn't know about it. I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt, but as we look through this, we'll see. Yeah, he did think he was smart, and he got away with things for a long time, but I wonder if he actually fooled Jen. Jen acted Jen acted like she was on Adderall during the interview. Yeah, but what does that mean? That's what I'm curious about. He is sick and evil, and it could be like Ted Bundy had a girlfriend for a long time, and she wasn't culpable of doing any of those. So is it in that case? Let's keep listening to this and see about Stephan Stearns. And we know he's gonna more than likely be convicted with all of this evidence for the 60 counts and also capital murder. But this is really weird that nobody caught this sustenance that he's posting about kids' toys, and then he posts about this kind of thing on the same. It's just really weird. And we'll talk about that too, because we're talking about the mandatory reporting of abuse checklist, like who needs to report. I wonder if somebody saw that and thought it was weird, all the girlfriend posts or girlfriend's daughter post, and maybe someone was just like, no, I'm tripping. Or maybe Jen had a gut feeling and just said, oh no, I'm just no. Ted Bundy didn't do anything to his girlfriends. No, you're right. But Ted Bundy did commit a ton of crimes in the time frame that he was with. So that's what I'm saying. It's people that are with somebody and they committed crimes. Just like Gilgo Beach murder. People are saying now they're turning on his wife. First, she was a victim in this because she didn't know he was doing any of it and she's losing her house. And now they're saying that maybe she was involved in it. So we're not talking about SA, and we're just on a general. There's a couple, there's two people, and two people are together. And while they're together, there's crimes being committed. It doesn't matter if it's robbery or whatever. So, all right, let's keep playing this. I'm trying to work it out.
Purported or anecdotal. Whatever the reasons, Stearns joined that site on that specific day, whether he was on a break from Jen or not. I don't think it was good for him. It's not like it helped him get on the straight and narrow path. Instead, as court documents attest, Stearns would go on to turn his evil desires against Maddie once again, who suffered at the hands of her mother's boyfriend in total for 5 long years of her life, from age 8 until age 13. All of these continued findings by sleuths across the web give us more insight into the sick mind of the man who seemingly just didn't pursue worthwhile pursuits, but instead turned his harmful ire on a young girl. Therefore, as we wait for more public record requests to be fulfilled and many more questions to be answered, a fuller portrait of Stearns's reported kinky nature is coming into view, as one of his friends termed both Stearns and Jen, and the burning queries remain. How much did Jennifer know about this dark side of Stearns's life? Was she against it, and is that the reason for their on and off again relationship, or was she a fully
Exactly. Thank you, Paula, for saying this. That's where I am right now. I'm like, I'm just completely going to have a blank slate and say, was she just completely like all the other like women? They didn't get convicted that they're married to someone. She's not married to him, but they also didn't hand their kid over. Agreed. But let's just start from ground zero and ask that question. When you're in a couple in a relationship, where does that lie? She just either didn't know, she had a gut feeling, or she knew. There's some other variations, like what the comment on the screen was. So yeah, let's keep. I love Paula from Plunder as she works it out. Start from ground zero, look at both of them, and then you guys can decide. And we can give her sympathy that she did lose her daughter, and everything's alleged. So let's keep going.
aware, willing participant? Did she know his proclivities extended toward her daughter, or was she truly in denial and visibly upset at the proof police produced for her to view? Chances are we'll find out a lot more in due time, even as
Yes.
the Lord of Hosts already knows
Thank
all, Zechariah 4:10, who, with reason, despises the day of small things, beginnings. For these 7 eyes shall rejoice when they see the plumb line in the hand of Zerubbabel. They are the eyes of the Lord which roam throughout the earth.
All right. Thank you, Paula.
So I heard
from
someone had
Thunder.
found an
All
account
right,
for
let's
Stephan.
stop. All right. So that was great. Really good, informative, and it just came out. So let's look at Jen now. We looked at Stephan. We don't know a whole bunch about Jen. Come here. My puppy's crying for me. Come here, Wes. All right. So we looked at him. Let's look at her. Let's see what we think. All right. I just want to let everyone know the dates of SA could be more often earlier than thought. There doesn't have to be, you're absolutely right. There doesn't have to be, we don't know half of anything. What we do know for sure is that Stephan Stearns is charged with many crimes, and that's all we know is what he's done so far. And we're just trying to work it out since every single channel that I go on, like literally every time I'm on YouTube, this is the only case that's just dominating and over and over and over. So I'm just trying to work it out with you all since I do have a platform and a channel. Thank you, Karen, for gifting the 5 memberships. So we looked at Stephan, we're going to look at Jen, and then we're going to see how it ties together with the two and what our thoughts are and get it all out. Let's get it all out. If you think, you know what, I'm not, there's no attacking here, just right under her nose. Her gut was drugged, and that's a good possibility, Malibu Surfer. All right, let's look at this. Since we're on Reddit, let's look at this and see what they said. Jen's marriage. So her marriage before was 2015 to 2017, and that's not Maddie's dad. Someone asks on Reddit, do you think Jen had Madeline sleeping in her bed with her when she was married? And we'll show you the marriage certificate if you haven't seen it. And this is why I'm focusing on this today, because everybody's talking about it and I can't get it out of my head. So I might as well do it with you guys. Madeline would have been 4 to 6 during that time years old. She began dating Stephan the following year. As we know, Stephan was already recording his grooming of Madeline by the time she was 8 years old. And these aren't facts. This is Reddit. We're just looking at Reddit. Also, Stephan's account where he tries to distinguish people between appropriate and inappropriate behavior with children. Do you think he and Jen spoke about those things? And how ironic is the post from 2 years ago? I can't help but read anything he's posted in terms of how old Madeline was at the time. All right. So that's and there's more. We're gonna read more. Was Jen under the influence of prescription meds? She must have been doing the H, in my opinion, like just completely a zombie the whole time. I knew nothing at all. Like I just don't. Yeah, they blurred out the ex-husband's face. We really want to look at Jennifer SOTO and Stephan Stearns and then see where their relationship was and what we think, since everybody else is talking about it. All right, so that was a weird question that this person asked. They said so Stephan Stearns was going on there and distinguishing between appropriate and inappropriate behavior with children. Do you think him and Jen talked about those things at all? Did they talk about anything at all, or was it just like one of those couples that were together but not really? I don't know. I never experienced them as people together. God, I hope that Jennifer Soto was just always on her meds and so out of it. All right. Let's see. People say it's crazy to me to have this anonymous online persona pretending to be an upstanding person that was against predatory adult behavior when he was engaging. Yeah, and then he would post about his thing. Sorry, I hit that. All right, so there's so many things here. Really, I came on here to talk about Jen's 2015 to 2017 marriage. All right, so we're not gonna dig into there, but you guys get the idea. All right, now let's go on to Jen's marriage certificate, just so we can see. Where is it? All right, take a look at that. Let's see if you can see it. In 1 second, while I. Last minute live. Sorry, guys. I know someone's going to say, there's no sound on here. What happened? Okay. Thank you for the gifts, Karen, by the way. Hey, JJ. All right. So I'm going to make myself smaller and look at her marriage certificate. Now I just want to dig into Jen a little bit because I don't know much about her. And maybe I was a little too judgmental on her. Maybe I just looked at it and like, mom shouldn't hand their daughters over to this guy. Like, that's disgusting, and being all mad, right? All right, hit the like button. Thank you. They know who to prey on. And I agree. We have 333, so make a wish. Angel number for Madeline Soto and to have justice. All right. They do know who to prey on. And now we're talking about Jennifer Soto. So let's just look at her background and kind of see what I'm curious, like, why she got divorced. I wish I could talk to the husband. So there's her marriage. We can see his name, state of Florida, record, Stephen Keith Young. And there's their application to marry. I wish I could zoom in more. I can. All right. Can you guys see that? And who's seen that? Has anybody seen that on Reddit yet? All right. No, I could have been. Thank you, Carson. I could have been judgmental and just been like, man, I had blinders on. Mother faithful, totally understandable. Yeah, no, I'm just trying to figure it out. So let's look at the marriage certificate. We know she was married in 2015 to 2017. Okay, and we're seeing the picture. If you guys didn't see it, I thought I'd bring it to you. Bree brought it to my attention, and then I saw it in my inbox because I'm on now following Madeline Soto in this whole case. So you can see her name is Jennifer Lizette Soto, which I did a background check on her, and that was one of her names. Kim Princess, Phil had blunders. I'm just working it out with y'all, so you changed your mind. No, I didn't change my mind. I'm working it out with you guys. Let's not take stuff out of context. This episode is just completely, we're starting and we saw Stephan Stearns. We're looking at Jennifer Soto and looking at the timeline. I'm definitely not changing. See how things get taken out of context? That's so funny. I started the show with, I'm just working out. I completely think that she is guilty and that she should be charged with the maximum amount of crimes that she can be. Let's get that straight. I'm just working it out with you guys so you can see the connection and why I think, okay, here's Stephan Stearns, here's Jennifer Soto. How could she be that blind? And where does it ties? Absolutely, Maya, you're 100% right. I definitely did not change my mind. We're working things out right now. So I am not changing my mind. I'm sorry about that. Pop-up lives is crazy. Okay. Child neglect is just the beginning. All right. So 2015 to 2017 is, when she got married. And then around 2018, she met Stephan Stearns. The two obviously came together. And I told you what they bonded over, right? They both had gastric gastric sleeves. They had gastric sleeves. And so both of them were overweight and they got the surgery together. And so there you go. It says, I wouldn't be surprised if she participated in his disgusting act. Absolutely disgusted by the whole case. Yeah, I am too. And it's crazy because that's all I can see. Like every time I go on to watch YouTube, it's this case. Jen should be charged. I agree. She knew. Okay, so as we look at her marriage certificate, and thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it. Everyone get your gift. My impression is that's mine too. Definitely. Jaime Fonseca, what's up? All right. Good for you, missing piece, my missing piece, Jackson. That's what Stephan Stearns and Jennifer Soto bonded over. So they bonded over the gastric sleeves. They were overweight, and that's what brought them together. We can see Stephan Stearns is very sexually motivated. He probably noticed that she had a daughter because they didn't hook up right away. They were friends before, like literally friends, like hanging out, supporting each other emotionally. They were close and they were friends with each other. So I know at some point they did talk. Can't accuse her of being yeah. All right. So I know at some point they talked, but what was the depth of it? How blind was she? All right. We're just putting the pieces together. And so what I want to say, we're going to do the culpability also. All right. So you saw her marriage license. If you don't have any questions about that, they bonded over that, the emotional, the eating and not eating and all that. So we know they talked, they had a connection. Jen wasn't that out of it. Okay. She worked at Disney. She was able to manipulate the system to get a check and still work. So she kept her money that she made just under the amount so she could still collect any money from the government that she could. So this isn't Maddie's real dad. Absolutely not. Go back and watch the videos. Tyler, no, it was not. Tyler's her dad. And if you go back, and for some reason, I can't even think of his last name. Do you know the timeline when they were broken up and when he was living with Jen? Well, they broke up so many times. He didn't move in until 2018, 2019-ish. He would just come and bring his stuff, and he had one dresser drawer. So we'd have to draw a whole timeline. Right now, I'm just working out this whole thing and showing you who's who and what. We're kind of, yeah, he's not a stepdad. Tyler Wallace. Thank you, Bree. Tyler Wallace is her biological dad, and this story is huge. I'm not sure that's what they bonded over. I see a friendship coming out of that, but only sign I have been suggesting any conversation is her comforting him as he pretended to cry. That's a good possibility. I'm just telling you what CM, the ex-roommate, said. Jennifer SOTO told CM that they started hanging. She literally told her, like, hey, I'm starting to like this guy, whatever. We both got gastrics and we're talking more, and because CM couldn't figure out why she was attracted to this guy. He was weird, standoffish, and definitely dirty. They couldn't go to his house because it was it was just a pig pen. No offense to pigs, because I also got messages about offending pigs. All right. Jen was never married to Maddie's dad. Absolutely. Well, no. It's just the dad. He's a biological dad, but I think he did his best. Military man, I think he did the best he could to be in Maddie's life, and I think parental alienation was happening on purpose. The topic of children is usually one of the first thing people talk about. Stephan knew right away she had a female child and began grooming Jen and Maddie. He knew that she was soon after. I think that's part of it too. I agree with you. Okay. Let's go. And the reason I'm talking is because I'm talking this through of what I think their relationship is and where her culpability lies, and especially with the law. Like, where does it lie with the law? All right, so I'm gonna pull up, let's see. I have another, where's the document that I had? All right. Yeah, sometimes doing a live stream without having everything prepared is a little bit crazy. All right, so complicity, we talked about that, and there's different forms of it. So when you charge someone as an accomplice, so now we're going to go back to, okay, we don't know that much about Jen. We know everyone thinks that a lot of people think she was drugged up and groomed, which I think was actually part of it. But we also know that she handed her daughter over to him knowing that he had this sexual appetite and that he had these weird kinks and fetishes. I'm assuming, this is me assuming, that he told her and shared his sexual whatever with her since they were together for so long. All right. They shouldn't need her to be a state witness. People will be angry if she's not charged. This is her fault, period. See, you get all the in-betweens. Yeah, she was on drugs. We know that too. And I think she was the manipulator. All right. He looks like he had dandruff from his beard. All right. Let me put something else while I talk about, because that's boring to watch looking at that. But let's put the next video and I'll talk about what complicity means and where she would fall into the lines of being complicit. All right. And there's so many things. Was she just dumb? She handed her daughter over and didn't know that she was handing her daughter over. because she was so drugged up, or was she, there's that scale. She either did it and like handed over without knowing, or she was a manipulator and she helped. That's what I'm trying to figure out. So we're doing that together. All right, let's pull this marriage certificate down and get that out of my way. Oh, I didn't want to be that big on the screen. Get me out of here. Thank you, Jojo. I appreciate you. And thank you guys for coming and hanging out, because this is last minute and it's better than thinking about this all night by myself. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking too. She had to know about, and I wouldn't even call it deviance. Well, what we saw on, by having fetish and stuff is not deviant until you start bringing in people that are of a younger age and that can't think for themselves. So, yeah, then it comes in there. All right. SS didn't even shower. Yeah, he didn't. It was like 21 days or 9 days and then 21. I don't know. All right, let's pull up the next video so you can hear this. Again, trigger warning, because there's nothing it's not, I'm not pulling down like SA and R. It just says what it says, everybody.
I'm going to play this, and then we're going to
Hold on.
start.
So Police Off the Cuff has been on just every day, just day after day. He's getting it all out. And I love that, because he was a retired NYPD, and I love the New York Police Department. They're just bold and they say what they want, and they're harsh because they've seen harsh things. So that's what you're going to get now. We love you. I love you. Yeah, he's gross and disgusting. Why wasn't she able to rest when they were in the room? Why wasn't she able to rest when they were? I don't know what that says, but all right. There's no way that this went on for 5 years in women, because I cannot call her a mother. I did not realize. And I'm trying to figure out the lines of the law. Where does she fall into her culpability in the lines of the law, or will she be a state witness? It's either bup or bup, because I'm getting emails that are saying otherwise. So I'm just trying to figure this out, and then we could definitely move on to the next information. But this is all new that came out on YouTube, so I'm sharing it with you, and we're talking about it.
Stearns gave police a very detailed description about how he and Madeline SOTO left her mom's Kissimmee apartment around 7:45 in the morning, drove to a McDonald's, and then arrived at the school about an hour later.
Trigger warning, the language is going to get rough. And now we're talking about the timeline and the details that Stephan Stearns confessed. Does it implicate Jen SOTO?
But according to this newly released report, other evidence confirming the location of Stearns' car contradicts his story.
This girl knows nothing but love here in this house. She hardly ever hears a word no. Double-edged sword, that is.
In this recorded interview, Stephan Stearns tells police about the morning he claims he drove 13-year-old Madeline SOTO to school.
She was asleep in the car most of the time, just snoozing until we got there.
Stearns says he dropped the teen off about a block away from Hunter Street Middle School.
I told her to have a good day. I loved her. She told me she loved me too. I turned around to leave, and I was watching her in my rearview mirror. She looked like she was walking in the right direction.
Authorities now believe Stearns murdered SOTO earlier that morning at the Kissimmee apartment she shared with her mother. According to this newly released report, security camera videos showed Stephan Stearns' vehicle exiting the complex with a female wearing a green sweater in the front passenger seat.
All right, you're listening to this. You're hearing it with me. It's coming from somewhere. And Davy Jones, somebody is pushing a narrative. You're right. And I'm new to YouTube. It's about 6 months right now. So I'm super new to this, and I'm not used to all of this. It's crazy. So yeah, somebody is pushing a narrative, and I can't understand why or where it's coming from. And so that's why I'm working out with y'all. And I'm not telling names or anything. I'm just telling you what's going on. And I don't understand. I feel I'm disconnecting between her feelings to her daughter, my opinion. And we all have opinions. I appreciate yours. Never bonded with her. Someone online said he was yeah, that's crazy. All right.
The female was slumped over to her left, which is an abnormal way for a person to be seated in a vehicle.
She brings a lot of joy. She's a very good girl. You definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here.
As police were looking at Stearns' cell phone, they discovered its memory had been wiped out the same day SOTO vanished.
I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my content.
He sounds like he took a swig of helium and he's talking. He like makes his voice sound like a little kid. I wonder if he talked to little kids on like that, like he would chat with them. Because listen how he sounds. So he had to have talked to kids too. He was enticing them. Did it go further?
All my information.
Several days after that interview, police found SOTO's body in a wooded area of St. Cloud. By then, police say they had also found several videos allegedly showing Stearns sexually molesting the girl. In one of those videos, according to this report, Stearns can be heard telling the then 8-year-old that she could not play with a phone unless she performed a sex act. Lisa and Matt.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Trigger warning all the way. And again, this is coming from police off the cuff. We appreciate you. He's been posting like crazy. He's from New York. So yeah, and I can see that he's a retired detective. It says right here, retired NYPD homicide sergeant, not detective. Excuse me. All right. Let's listen to this and then I'll talk about complicity some more.
Horrific. You know, it just everything about this case is horrible. And one of the things that, you know, if there's any solace in this case is that the police, and I say this, they did an outstanding job and they continue to do an outstanding job. And I'm very impressed with the interview, the interrogation, very impressed with how they recover the evidence so that it sticks when they do take this savage to court.
How fast?
You know, our whole sort of hypothesis for tonight's show is that Jennifer SOTO and Stephan Stearns, did they do it together? And if you believe in the chat they did it together, give us a 1. If you believe that Stephan Stearns.
There you go. So, and it doesn't have to be completely, you can, you know, it's his chat. It doesn't have to be black or white. And I don't think it is black or white, folks. I don't think it's either or. I think there's something in the middle. And that's where the complicity law falls into place. And why everybody failed Maddie. So it's not just Jen's fault. That starts with Jen. Let's say that Jen was completely just drugged for 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, and was a zombie that gave her daughter over. Who else missed it? Who else didn't report it? Who else didn't see it? Who else didn't think about it? Who else didn't notice it? All right.
Acted alone and did this alone? Put a 2 in the chat. My feelings are that the more I look at this case, I see Jennifer SOTO's involvement in it all the way. I really do. And that's my gut feeling. That's my feelings. Mike?
Yeah, Billy, you, me, and Phil, we kind of believed from the start that it wasn't completely unknown to the mother what was going on, that there must have been some level. And I think my suspicions on that have gotten much stronger as we've gone through this. We've looked at more information. You take a look at the video of her again, you know, several times, and you start to go over everything again and figure out in your mind where things happened, how do they happen, the chronology of events. And I don't think there is much credible information that she could put out there, that the mom could put out there to say that she had no idea that there could have been anything going on and she could never have imagined that. I don't think so. I think just any normal person, any normal mother or father would be able to have some inkling.
All right. And some inkling is definitely not enough to get you arrested and be in prison and have this, you know, sexual offense forever and ever. That's definitely not, especially if she was at the hospital all the time and didn't know what she was doing. So that's where I'm trying to figure out, is she a stay witness or is she complicit in the crime with him, and where does that fall? All right. It's really unsettling how he insists. She said, I love him too. He actually says that she says, thank you. If you listen to it again, she didn't say I love him, says thank you. But yeah. And that she was happy. That one, yeah, together during her birthday. Not only he lives in fantasy world, so does Jen SOTO, because she said that too. She said the same thing that he did. They told the same lies. So that's actually a crime to do that, to just take what somebody that got convicted or that's being charged with all these crimes, and have said the same story, repeated to the cops, and hindered the investigation. But the cops worked really quick to get there. So it's, yeah, where does that culpability lie? True Crime 608. It's hard to believe that she didn't know. Yeah, but her not knowing what was happening, does that mean that she just, how could you be charged for just not knowing is what my question is. And yeah, she was doing something. Yeah, she was bisexual. We know that. So I'm wondering too where her kinks were. Are we gonna see her social media accounts and behind the scenes? Like, we don't know any of this yet, but we do know he did all of these evil things, and she was with him for that long, and she handed Maddie over to him. So we know all that. Yeah, aiding and abetting. All right. Let's listen to this a little more, and then we'll go a little further into the complicit part and what you think where that falls.
Of something going on, maybe they don't want to know and they just put the blinders on, but they know, and therefore it's really difficult even to believe a story, even if she didn't have a lot of information. It was just some sort of suspicion. The fact is, she actually was covering for Stephan in that interview by adopting part of his own excuse. So therefore, I think she can legally be charged, even at this point, with the criminal act, depending on how you want to look at it. But definitely, yes.
Yeah, I mean,
so there you go. He said the criminal act, and this is what I'm getting to, and everybody can look up what the crime of complicity means in criminal law, what it refers to, or how someone helps, whether they're helping, they're encouraging, soliciting, or aiding and abetting, so to speak, right? That's what the term for law. So on one thing, they call it actus reus. I guess that's how you say it. To charge someone as an accomplice, the prosecutor must prove that the individual had requisite actus reus, the physical act, like DNA, blood, something like that, some kind of physical act. Maybe, the marks, maybe she had scratch marks. And I'm talking about Jen Soto. This can be simple as aiding, encouraging, or assisting during the commission of an offense. And you don't have to do it. You just were there, or some physical form. You helped put her in the car, whatever. The prosecute for mens rea, which is the next accomplice liability, the prosecution must also demonstrate that the accomplice had the appropriate criminal intent. In other words, they voluntarily encouraged or assisted in the crime. So did she do any of that? What do we think? We could talk about that. I'll get to the next one, and then you guys could tell me, was it 1, 2, or 3? Where's Jen now? That's a good question. The grapevine, a little birdie says that she's at her family's house and they're hiding her out. So she can't leave the country or anything, but I think she's with family. She's not in a mental institute. I believe that and I can't dig into that. It's against the law for me to go check out the mental institution and check the records. You can't do that. So, and if you send someone over there to do it, you're breaking a law. So that's just like way above and beyond. I would say that she probably did check herself into a mental institution because of what happened and her having to hold it all in and tell the same story, and she didn't know if she was going to get arrested. All right. Hughes said one of the scummy Stearns friends said that he and Jen were, there you go. And I heard those interviews too. I agree. So let's say that she's got this relationship with this man and she was into that stuff, but she didn't know anything. You don't lie in murder unless you're guilty. Right. But you still have to prove it and all the other stuff. Okay. Davy Jones, we're getting somewhere. She's definitely an accessory after the fact. Okay. I love criminal like terminology for crime. So we did actus reus, which is the charge to charge someone as an accomplice. Mens rea, the prosecution must also demonstrate the accomplice had the appropriate criminal intent. So not just like, oh, he told me to tell the story and I told the story, but I didn't know what was going on. He always tells me and leads me. I'm just, I wasn't paying attention. So you have to actually have criminal intent. Actus reus, mens rea, and then low bar for actus reus means sometimes an individual can be an accomplice if they had a legal duty to act but failed to prevent the offense. For example, if they witnessed a crime and didn't try to stop it, they could still be considered an accomplice. All right. So 3 examples of complicity. Make sure everybody's still with me as I talk. Prior knowledge is evidence she knew. Thank you all for being here tonight and listening to this and just listening to me talk about the things I'm thinking and seeing this all over YouTube. I guess her whole family didn't buy the lie, and the grandma didn't like Stearns. She didn't want him at the birthday party, and rumor is that she was actually they were going to sell the condo and kick her out because she had him living there. And if you look up one of those, where you sell your house, the house actually went up for sale for 2 weeks, but it never got sold. It got taken off the market a couple of times. All right. DNA usually takes longer than a talk screen. Yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot of things. Coercion. She probably put earbuds in to not hear anything. Hello, pit lover. What's up? Neglect to co-defendants. So many. What's up, Hag 90? All right. So all this allows the share bed. 37 her mom says her mom ignores warning signs. How dumb? Yeah, it does, but it's still not a crime. So we're trying to dig into the crimes. His phone and Maddie's phone at home while she's supposedly taking her to school. It's odd because Jen saw her getting dressed for school. Right. So she didn't see her getting dressed for school at all. All right. This is great. I'll keep this up. Child neglect, obstruction of justice, accessory after the fact. And we actually just hit 444, everybody, which is an angel number, which let's pray whatever you do for justice for Madeline Soto and for it to be not, I said Madeline Soto, I meant justice for Madeline Soto. 444. I'm going to keep those charges up. If Jennifer Soto doesn't get locked up forever, she will live in hiding, right? I think Jen was warped sense of sexuality and abuse is normalized in the household. All right. Let's talk a little bit more about the complicity examples. Serving as a getaway driver in a bank robbery, disabling the alarm system of a jewelry store, knowing it'll be robbed later, loaning a handgun to someone planning to commit a crime, directing a vehicle to the dead-end street where an armed carjacker is waiting. All right, now we're getting closer. Stopping complicity. An individual can seize the complicity during a crime by either giving a timely warning to law enforcement that a crime is about to occur or making a good faith effort to prevent the crime from happening. Definitely not participating in it for a long time or turning a blind eye. That's for sure. Jen comes off as a narcissist. Her giving Madeline's last name and the bio dad's last name is kind of telling. Yeah, I mean, all of those things seem telling, but it's the bottom line is here, KJ, justice for Maddie. And at this point, it's like video after video after video when nothing new has come out, but it did come out because Plunder found the sustenance, which isn't in the documents. And we already know he's sick, but where does his connection to Jennifer Soto lie, and what did she know? And what is she legally culpable for? Moms always know what's going on with their child's body. Maddie would have had problems from all the abuse that was going on. She can't be blind to that. I agree. There's also going to be marks and stretch marks and blood and fluids. All right, Jen's playing dumb because it was pointed out earlier she worked just enough to she did. She definitely did. That's for sure. All right, let's finish this video. This police off the cuff is crazy right now. He's just going for it. Video after video of this case.
This is a lot to take in this case. And as more and more of the evidence just came in this week, of course, I thought I was going to get to the discovery affidavit, but we clearly had so much to talk about that we didn't. And I did like a whole show on the discovery evidence affidavit, which I could put it up on the screen now. That in itself is a whole other damn show. It's just there's so much information that put it up on.
No, it's definitely not confirmed that Stephan Stearns was at the birthday party, and it will be confirmed in court. But right now, he wasn't at the birthday party. Let's just go with that. And you can go back and watch the videos.
the screen there. You could see it. And it's the state's response for demand for discovery. And they go over all the search warrants, all the evidence. One of the interesting things we found in this, and I'll go down, there's a firearm
Yes.
recovered in this. I think it was, I'm looking for it on here. And that, to me, draws questions. Could Madeline have been killed?
Page 252, I see firearm.
Okay,
mentioned.
firearms trace summary. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. There's part of it.
brings some more questions to this.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the things, and Kissing Me Floyd.
What happened there? No internet problems right now. Sorry, people. I hope my StreamYard didn't go away. Okay. Let me just hit the back button here. I don't know what happened, but Police Off the Cuff is crazy anyway. He's got so many things right now, and I applaud him for being bold enough to say what he wants to say. All right, let's go back.
And it's the state's response for demand for discovery. And they go over all the search warrants, all the evidence. One of the interesting things we found in this, and I'll go down, there's a firearm.
Yes.
Recovered in this. I think it was, I'm looking for it on here. And that, to me, draws questions. Could Madeline have been killed?
Page 252, I see firearm.
Okay,
mentioned.
firearms trace summary. Yes.
Yeah.
That, brings some more questions to this.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the things, and Kissing Me Floyd.
Why does it keep doing that? I'm sorry. It keeps doing that. All right. Well, he's got, we've only listened to 6 minutes.
I'm going to play this and then
it keeps doing that. All right, let's finish it. It's 6 minutes and something. We'll
information
be done.
that put it up on the screen there. You could see it.
Yes, you did.
That, to me, draws questions. Could Madeline have been killed?
Page 252, I see firearm.
Okay,
mentioned.
firearms trace summary. Yes.
Yeah.
That, brings some more questions to this.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the things, and Kissing Me Floyd.
Okay, I guess that's where it cuts off. So we're going to stop sharing that. And yeah, there's a lot of things. Let me share I'm going to put this up on the screen, the mandatory reporting in Florida, which I wish was everywhere, folks. I wish this was everywhere. I wish people had to do this. And thank everybody for the super sticker and the gifting memberships. I've got you guys, there's 10 new members tonight. So welcome everybody to the crime crew. Let's get this information out. Let's talk about the laws, not just speculation. Let's see if you can see this. I'm going to pull myself down a little because I want to make sure that you're able to see this so everybody knows what the mandatory reporting of abuse checklist, June 2023. And this is in Florida, the Florida courts government. So the whole see something, say something, everybody says there's a meaning behind that. I don't have my notes right this second, but what did he say? There's definitely, there is firearms. Didn't you see the list? Hold on. I'm going to go to downloads. I want you to look at this though first, but I am going to go to the downloads. I want you to know who needs to report things and whatever. Now, Police Off the Cuff, if you guys are still wanting to hang out when I'm done with that, Police Off the Cuff has a video that says, did Jennifer Soto and Stephan Stearns actually do it together? And it's an hour and 45 minutes. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but yeah, let's go through this so we can get to that. As a native in current Florida, I have to giggle at the new way people pronounce Kissimmee. Yeah, I don't know how to spell. I say Kissimmee. Put it in chat. Tell me how it is. Also, family threatened to sell the house because Stephan Stearns was there. Is that why he was at his parents'? Yeah, I think that was a big reason why he kept going back to his parents' house, because they didn't want him there. They had gut feelings. People do. And that's what we're about to talk about right now. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, in Florida, who needs a report? Everyone is a mandatory reporter. However, there are two types of reporters. There's a mandated reporter. So that's any person who knows or has a reasonable cause to suspect that a child is abused, abandoned, or neglected by a parent, legal custodian, caregiver, or other person responsible for the child's welfare, and a mandatory reporter. Any person, including but not limited to state, county, or municipal criminal justice employees, law enforcement officer who knows or has reasonable cause to suspect that a vulnerable adult has been or is being abused. All right, so you guys are getting the clue or what I'm saying, right? Like you understand that people should be, and a lot of people failed. Maddie should have not failed Maddie, and a teacher is a mandatory reporter. Again, I'm not throwing shade at the teachers or the doctors or anybody, but I'm just no shade. It's just what it is. People should be looking out, and if they think or they feel something, you should be able to do that. You should report it even if you don't know. So a mandated reporter, we're talking about that right now, is anyone that's legally obligated, is a physician, an osteopathic physician, a medical examiner, a chiropractor, a nurse, a paramedic, an emergency medical technician, or hospital personnel, somebody that's in admission, examination, care, or treatment of persons. I know this is loud. I'm sorry. I'm like yelling at you guys. What are you guys talking about in chat? You're awesome, Jojo. Thank you. 5 more memberships. There's 459 people in chat. And I hope you guys are here because you're in support of getting justice for Madeline SOTO. That's what we want. And thank you, Jojo. There's going to be a bunch of new members only content coming out because there's so many members. My mom lives in Florida. Who cares how it's pronounced? Sorry but this is about Maddie. Right. Agreed. I try not to read all the comments here, but I also want to keep you guys informed. Miracle Hearts. If Jen was truly clueless, she would have been suspicious of step concerns instead of supportive. Yeah, that's interesting, right? Thank you for covering the story to the fullest. This case has affected me tremendously, and I can imagine how it affects you also. We love you for your hard work. Thank you for saying that. It definitely has affected me. When I came into doing YouTube for serial killers and just true crime, I didn't think it was going to turn into this, and I didn't think that many people would even be watching, and I definitely didn't think I'd be getting emails and calls and messages the way I do. So let's talk about who should report, and then that way there's nobody that feels singled out. So physicians, doctors, health or mental professionals, school teachers or other school staff, social workers, nursing home staff, employees of the Department of Business Profession, law enforcement, even animal control folks, which makes sense if you pay attention to this case, mediators. I need a drink. Hold on. All right. An officer or employee of the judicial branch is not required to provide notice of reasonable cause to suspect of child abuse, abandonment, or neglect. Oh, when that child is currently being investigated by a department, there's a department provided that there's reasonable cause to believe information is already known. Okay, so we're seeing this stuff in Florida, and if you guys want, you can go to the Florida flcourts.gov and look up a mandatory reporting checklist to see if anything meets that for you. If you don't know and you have a feeling, take a look at that. Thank you, Giselle. Thank you. All right. Okay, what needs to be reported? Child abuse. If a child's in need of supervision, report it. If a child's abused by a parent or caregiver or responsible for the child's welfare, report it. Child abuse by an adult other than a parent, legal custodian, or caregiver. Child abuse of the obviously CSA. I'm already using all the words, but I'm trying to keep this going, and I want people to see this. It's weird how you can say certain things and then you can't say certain things, but we're really trying to get the real life things out there. Lisa Botkin, true crime community is awesome. It is. Oh, Julio's in the house. What's up, Julio? All right. Yeah, his Reddit account is creepy. Let's keep talking about this real quick so I can get it out there. All right. So who should be reported? We are seeing that, or what needs to be reported, and it's, you can see those words. It's already, I'm doing bad enough. I don't want to get pulled down. Vulnerable adult abuse. So we know what that is, a vulnerable adult. And then who to report it to is important. So this is Florida for this one, but you guys should know all of your local clink clink, hashtag clink clink, arrest Jennifer SOTO. Yes, don't take out of context what I'm saying tonight. I'm playing the part of the prosecutor and the defense, and then the laws of what actually apply. I'm also playing the part of the people that are emailing me and messaging, putting messages that Jen's going to be a state witness, or that she's, that she just didn't know and whatever. And then I'm playing the part of how I feel, which is, I've been saying hashtag arrest Jen SOTO. Yeah, Kim Princess nailed it. So, but I also want to get real information. I don't want to be those conspiracy theory channels. All right. So all of this stuff you should report. If you don't report it, that's an important part. So who to report it to, I should make sure you guys know. DCF website, report abuse. You guys have to, you can look up how to report abuse. Right? There's a hotline that also accepts faxes. I don't know why they even put that, but 1-800-914-0004. It's a web-based chat on their website. So you could just go on there and report it. If the abuse is by an adult other than a parent, okay, SA, we did that. Okay, here's what happens if you don't report it. Failure to report child abuse to DCF is a 3rd-degree felony. Okay, so let's say at the least there's a 3rd-degree felony there. Hashtag arrest Jen SOTO. Hashtag arrest Jen SOTO. Child Protective Service, Texas, and other states. Yeah, right now I'm talking about Florida only because Maddie. Yeah, definitely. You wouldn't believe. Hashtag, I love when you say we're coming right? We're allegedly coming for you, because we wouldn't want to threaten anyone. Seriously, we don't. All right. We must have been so scared in school not saying anything and knowing to go back to the hellhole. The monster was there. I agree. And I'll leave that up. Hashtag arrest Jen SOTO. Let's finish this document so we can listen. Let's listen in on police off the cuff. So when it happened, or what happens if you don't, we got a 3rd-degree felony. We have failure to report SA is a misdemeanor, a 1st degree, and then failure to report a case, known or suspected neglect or exploitation of a vulnerable adult, or preventing someone from doing it as a misdemeanor or 2nd degree. So you fall on these, like, it's crazy, like the where it falls under the spectrum. What happens if you make a false report? We all know that when you make a false report, it's still it could be a crime. Hopefully you don't do it on purpose, because some people do, but don't be afraid to make a false report. I want you guys to be like, I don't want to get in trouble. So if you're knowingly and willingly making a false report, then of course you get in trouble by law. False report's guilty of a felony in the 3rd degree, because you're wasting everyone's time and money. Okay. Now we're done with that. All right, everybody. I didn't mean to be that big. Whoa. Kim Princess, anxiety and depression. Justice for Maddie. Yeah. Oh, man. Who just super chatted me that? Or Jenny Lang. Thank you. I was hoping you'd be on tonight covering this. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny Lang. I appreciate you. We went through all of it as well. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. All right, so let's listen to some of the off the cuff, because he knows what he's talking about, and really what I want to do is show you all sides and then see what her complicity was, and what do you think? If you think Jennifer SOTO and Stephan Stearns did it together, or that story that they told, anything of them doing it together or Jen knowing, put a 1. And nobody's gonna be mad at you. Put a 2 if you absolutely think she didn't know and she was just, mentally unwell, and she gave her child to the wrong man, and she really just didn't know. All right, let's listen to what they have to say for a little bit. We don't have to listen to that since we have a
interview
fast forward.
/ interrogation and say, oh, he's
Now I
lying. He's
can,
like, the detectives know he's lying.
right now I can interact with you in chat since I was able to read all this helpful information and give you legal terms and what people can do and what the culpability is. All right.
But guess what? They want to keep him talking because one of the beauties about being a good interviewer and a good interrogator is you know certain truths. And when the person who you're interviewing is lying, you know they're lying because you know what the truth is. And when Stephan Stearns starts lying, and I always tell you guys TPO, time, place of occurrence. That's how almost every police report is started, at the TPO. And times, places, and occurrences are the first thing a good interview.
And I appreciate you all for doing that. And I appreciate Pam for saying 1.5. There's no black and white to anything ever. So I appreciate that. Genergy 1.5 either was that or the 3. Yeah. Thank you guys for interacting with us. Thank you, Jade. Love you and your hard work. I just want you to be honest and feel safe here. There's no judgment. We're not here to judge each other. We're here to be honest and be able to have a healthy debate if it becomes a debate without being like, F you, you be, and you're this. Like, we're adults and we have integrity and we're intellectual. Let's use our words.
A good interrogator uses to try to get the truth. And there's many things, of course. There's body language. There's checking the time and the place of an occurrence. Of course, the time is so very important because when Stearns starts referring to certain times and they're so ridiculously off and the police know certain things.
Now we're just listening to him, NYPD homicide sergeant, right? He's a retired one. We're listening to him with all of his information talk about this. And he really strongly feels that, I believe when you listen to this, that Jennifer SOTO knew and was complicit with him. So maybe I could be taking this wrong, but listen.
Things happened at certain times and he's saying the opposite. So I just want to point that out. We're going to dig into this tonight and we're going to go back and look at what the police said 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And then look at Stephan Stearns and Jennifer SOTO's interview on television. Because my thing is, I think Jennifer SOTO is involved. I'm convinced of it 100% right now. And I'm a little bit baffled as to why she hasn't been arrested yet. And we'll go into that, why we think that. And I've had a lot of you say the same thing to me. So guys, hold on to your seat.
And thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. It's 8:30 my time on a Friday night. And I just wanted to get this off my chest because like all week long I've been doing my thing and working and moving around and all that. And like, yeah, I just wanted to talk it out with y'all. So thank you. And Police Off the Cuff has got good information and we align in our thoughts.
Please hold on to your hats. You're about to enter true crime from a police perspective. You're about to enter the off the cuff zone, the police off the cuff zone.
All right, let me fast forward for this. We like his beginning. We're gonna
investigator.
All right, let me try to. Not that we're gonna watch all of it, but I want you to hear what they have to
Sergeant
say.
for the NYPD. And when I listened to this interrogation / interview, it's really not an interrogation till you have probable cause. Then it becomes, or guilty knowledge. That's what they refer to it in the criminal justice field. Once you have established guilty knowledge, now it goes from interview to interrogation. You want to speak upon that, Professor?
Yeah, Billy, early on, when you have a case like this with a missing child, as an investigator, that the clock is running really fast and you don't have a lot of time. And so they're looking really quickly at what the setup of the family is and thinking, okay, we got to really figure out where was she from the moment she woke up in the morning. So you start at the home, at the nucleus, the center of the wheel, and you go out in different areas like a spokes on a wheel. And so they're sitting there trying to figure out, okay, we got to talk to who we need to talk to first. Talk to the mother, talk to the father. If there's any other children, you talk to them. They bring him in. And, the people don't realize it, but everyone is a suspect until the police clear you with some sort of corroboration that you can place yourself outside of the crime scene area in terms of where you were, who you were with, and the times you were away. So they have to do that. And even if you were cleared in the beginning, if they develop anything further.
And remember, right now we know Stephan Stearns has been charged. Jennifer Soto is probably going to be charged, but we did bring awareness to those that should have been aware and need to be aware in the future and report things. Please report things if you think so. Please.
They can bring you back into the fold, so to speak. But so you want to interview the mother, you want to interview Stephan, and you want to interview anyone else who may like a housekeeper, a neighbor, things like that. People who are kind of in the knowledgeable around the family to see what was going on. And so you really are not focusing in on one particular person at all. They are not there. They are not going to be suspect number one. But you have to get a lot of information. You got.
Right. And this goes on for a long time. So I'm going to just skip around a little and talk to you guys. But I'm terrified she's going to get a Kayla Montgomery deal. Me too. And that's why I think I've been focusing on it, because I don't want her to get off. It's just terrible. I'm having, I had nightmares the first time I read the report of the charges and I couldn't get through it. It's affecting all of us, and it affects us because, well, we didn't know Maddie, but we all know children, or we have children, and it's just hard to wrap your mind around something like this happening for so long. Even if Jen was taking legal RXs, you can't use RXs to be able to care for your child right. Just like you can't just be so drunk because you can't care for a child. That's legally child abuse. Correct.
Got to get it quickly, but you got to be a good talker. You got to put people at ease. No matter how hurried you are as an investigator, you have to keep people at ease. You don't rush them through an interview. You go over things quietly. Get them talking, and get them talking very nicely. You're not confrontational.
Right. Let's
lie to the police.
Don't lie to the police.
1916 hours, and they found the bad stuff in his phone.
Right.
And that was the night he was. So let me play this, and you'll see how far we've come from here.
Our detectives have determined that Madeline was never dropped off on the morning of February 26th near her school. Instead, we believe she was already dead at the time, and that Stephan Stearns moved her body in the early morning hours on that day. We have video evidence that shows Stephan Stearns discarding items in a dumpster in that apartment complex in Kissimmee at 7:35 on Monday, February 26th.
That's so very, very important, because Stephan Stearns says that they got up at 0700 to 0715. He doesn't, it's like, he's not a morning person. He keeps saying that. He says that every 2 minutes. I'm not a morning person. And at 0730 to 0745, they got out the door of the house. So right there, that's impossible, because he's seen at the dumpster throwing away her.
Right. This gives us a bit of a time frame, and he's right. Look how far we've come now, and what we notice from the interviews, and what Stephan Stearns says. I'm not a morning person. He says a lot of the same things over, and the cops are onto him right away. Will my wife ever join a live? Probably not. Maybe she came by earlier and covered her face, and ignorance is no excuse. Wait, I missed Kate Takes. They don't need her to lock him up for life. They have enough evidence. I agree with that. And give Kate a big shout out. She was the one that went over to the memorial. She's been giving me footage from boots on the ground at the site and whenever she can. So thank you, Kate Takes. Kate. All right.
Backpack and her laptop in the dumpster on that property. So right there is a huge, big, fat lie. Now, someone just had asked me in the chat, how do you know that she was killed in their house? And the evidence that we have is the chief just said there, and he gave us this information March 14th, that he was seen in the early morning hours carrying her out of the house. So she was between 8:30 at night when Stearns showed up at her birthday party, which was on the 25th, Sunday the 25th, and to the next morning, or even the wee hours of the morning. That's when and potentially, and I've just sort of joined this camp here, Jennifer Soto, and I think that she very well could be involved in this. And this is the thumbnail for this show. Jennifer Soto and Stephan Stearns, did they do it together?
And I couldn't find pictures that I'd want to use for a thumbnail with them together. So I did have to do the same thing, kind of paste it together. I didn't want to put the one of her comforting him, take a screenshot of that. But generally, it was him just pining over Maddie all the time, and those disgusting from Reddit, those disgusting posts about his, in hindsight, his ex-girlfriend, or yeah, his ex-girlfriend, even his daughter or his girlfriend's daughter, is just disgusting. Like, why didn't anyone see any of that? Woo, woo, woo. All right, let's go. We're having a good time with the crime crew and we're talking about this, but it's not to be taken lightly.
And
Thank
I'm
you.
thinking now,
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. I'm back. Let's. Oh, JPL, we've seen you on the show
so yes,
before. Where'd
we
you go?
owe a lot of the investigative talents to digital evidence, you know. And but you know, I want to play a little before we get too far off track here. I want to play a little bit of his interview, because one of the things that someone's lying, he keeps apologizing. During this interview, he must have apologized 4 or 5 times, said he wasn't a morning person 3 or 4 times, begs off that he's on some drug that puts him to sleep, and he's just been so stressed out. Yeah, a 37-year-old man stressed out, lives with mommy and daddy, and you know, it doesn't work. He's so stressed. You know, he's a stressed out man. Let me play a little bit of this from Law and Crime Network. Let me put it up on the screen, and we'll hear a little bit of his testimony here, or his interview, actually.
Nobody knew that we know of. I think the closest it came to anyone knowing was Madeline kind of hinting to her friends, and we still don't know because information hasn't come out. But if her dad knew, he would have stormed right in and took her without, I'm sure, without the law. He would have, and so Tyler or Tatiana would have not let that go. I think Madeline Soto was groomed from a young age, and she didn't want to put up with it anymore. When she turned 13, something happened, whether with Stephan and Jennifer or what, but that's what I think. It's my theory. We'll find out.
Phase that she's been into lately, where she's very particular about what car she's seen getting out of in front of the school. Hers and mom's car, but my cars are, I guess, kind of hoopties. I get it. It's an image thing. But that was sometime probably between 8:20 and 8:40-ish, somewhere in there. It was along the stretch of the road that on the right side that has all the communities on it. Before you get to the overpass, you could see the overpass from where it was. So it was on that side, on that stretch of road. And that's where I dropped her off.
So the interesting thing about this is when you listen to it, no, it's all fabricated. None of this happened. He's making this whole thing up. And the detectives, they're very cool. The way they listen to him, they know he's lying.
They are very cool, but you can tell, like, when they listen how they talk and listen what he says. It's interesting that when it gets to a part that he doesn't want to talk about, he says, like, oh yeah, I'm not a morning person, or I took a bunch of tranquilizers and I was out of it. Like, I don't remember really well, or listen to that. We're not going to listen to the whole thing, but just in hindsight, it's so weird and just odd.
But they don't give it up that they know he's lying. Yeah. Okay. And then they start digging in a little bit more with questions, because he's getting comfortable. You know, he's getting comfortable in his lies, and he doesn't realize.
I think he has evil eyes. He looks like the devil, like straight up. And the only person that would be able to do something like what he did would be the devil himself.
Till they start questioning him about, where is this and why did you drop her off on the sidewalk? Why did you know? And what's the name of that road you made the turn? When they start getting very specific, he starts doing what we call in law enforcement interview and interrogation. He starts doing a tap dance.
She said she was going to go wait for her friends. She was going to find them.
And Pamela Black, you're right, but it depends in what context somebody says that she may be a state witness, and what they say doesn't mean she's not guilty. Right. It just depends what context you're taking that from. So, yeah.
I'm going to hang out and wait for her friends. And I asked if that was going to be okay. She said, yeah, it's fine. Kids get dropped off early enough as it is. So it's not totally unusual for that to happen. It's just not usually that early that I drop her off. I do school runs every once in a while for her. I said, okay, let her out. Have a good day. Love you.
I have to stop this because in the interview, I wish I could pull it up right now to the part where Jennifer Soto says, That's the first time he's ever done that. I needed extra sleep. She didn't say he did it sometimes. She said he's never done that before. Do you remember that in the interview when she says that? She literally says that he's never done that, and that was the first time. And he's saying that every so often, maybe 5 or 6 times he's done that.
Thanks, love you too. And I turned around and was driving away and was watching her in my rearview mirror to make sure that she was going where she wants to go. And she was moving in that direction, but she was rummaging around in her backpack or something. What I assumed was probably headphones.
She was rummaging around in a backpack that she didn't have because he already threw it in the dumpster. It's already gone. And he's making all this shit up right during the interview. And, but the detectives are cool. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, that can happen,
Phones or something like that. But I find out later that she forgot her phone here. So she may have been rummaging for her.
I find that amazing. Not only did Madeline forget her phone, but guess who also forgot his phone? Stephan. So 2 people. And, most kids, their phone is glued to their left rear pocket or wherever they keep it, inside their backpack or in their hands. And they know they have it or they don't. But an adult, oh, really? You left your phone? Why did you do that? Because, well, you don't want the GPS tracking to where you're going with this dead body at this point. So to me, that is another point that's horrific that, we
All right, everybody, there's 459 people in here. I don't know, 481. Hit the like button so we can get into the algorithm and make sense with other people. The more we get into the algorithm, the more people that we have as an audience, and we could all come together and make this make sense, literally. It was not going to make sense, but I like to talk it out with other people, especially people that have knowledge of things like police officers, psychologists, psychiatrists, anybody that has that certification, education. And it doesn't matter what your perspective is. I want to talk about it. All right, let's see what else. I'm going to go a little bit further.
Other items Maddie would have had with her, including what Maddie's backpack looked like.
Does she have any other devices besides that phone? Any other electronics?
She had her school laptop with her.
Is that still supposed to be with her?
Still supposed to be with her, yes.
Okay. What kind of book bag does she carry?
Black book bag with like grayish blue hibiscus flowers on it, like a print.
So
When she leaves in the
inconveniencing.
mornings, where does she usually put her phone?
Either in her backpack or like her back pocket, kind of wherever she just thinks to put it.
You like that question they just asked? When she leaves, where does she usually put her phone? And he specifically knew the answer on where, like her back pocket or backpack. But then in another breath, he says he's not a morning person and he's usually not up and he doesn't take her. That he never usually takes her, only once in a while, and he takes tranquilizers. So in one breath, he knows exactly what she usually does most of the time. And then in another breath, he doesn't know what she does because he takes tranquilizers, and just doesn't make freaking sense at all. Like, the cops are so good in this.
Stearns was then asked whether Maddie would have just taken off and run away.
I don't know, you've probably been asked already, but she's never ran away or been away for longer than a certain period of time, amount of time.
No, she's very dependent on this. I don't think she'd know what to do if she did run away. She's not the type. She's a good kid.
Besides the ADHD, is she diagnosed with anything else?
Yeah, she was tested with all
yeah.
that and had some symptoms of autism, so she's potentially on the spectrum there.
So
She was
messed
officially
up.
diagnosed with it when she was younger, and then she was retested and said, well, she shows symptoms of being on the spectrum, but maybe not full-on autistic.
In fact, Maddie, according to documents released by police and prosecutors, was constantly in contact with family and friends. Stearns then asked whether there was any news about Maddie's disappearance.
Have we had any updates?
We literally have like 50 people right now on scene looking. I don't know if there's any updates. The best person would be the other detective because he's
Any updates? Have you found her yet? Because I dumped her right in the middle of, like, right in the open where you can see. And yeah, it was premeditated. Didn't they charge him with premeditated? I can't remember right now. I'm like, so much. Thank you, Jojo. Again, there's so many people in here that want a membership, and I appreciate you. I think they said autism. That's a crutch. And yeah, that made me angry. You can go back and watch the episode that talks about that, and I'm angry the whole time.
He's the one that is in charge of all this.
What's up?
A little dead air right here.
I think I've eaten anything since yesterday.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys are worried.
This next little bit of information discussed in the interview is interesting. Stearns apparently split his time between his parents' home in Sarasota County and the apartment where Maddie and her mom lived. Maddie's mom would later tell detectives that Stearns hadn't been to their apartment since December.
Like, because you live down south, right? When did you come back up north to help her?
I just got here this weekend.
Do you remember what day it was?
Sunday was her birthday party. So yeah, it was the evening after her birthday party. Sunday.
Okay. Do you remember what time you got here on Sunday?
8:30ish maybe.
Okay.
Just in time to make sure that she was doing all her nighttime routines.
All right, listen, folks. He was not at the freaking birthday party. I know he lies a lot, but he wasn't at the birthday party. He got there probably before then or after, since he's a liar, but he went straight to the house waiting for Maddie to come home to do her nighttime routine. So he wasn't at the birthday party. I'm almost 95% positive. Somebody that was at the party told us he wasn't at the party. Behind the scenes told us.
Wait for her mom to get home.
You live in North Pole, right?
Yeah, I split my time between the two.
Is that on Snug Street?
Snug Street,
Okay,
yeah.
that makes sense. So you have a lot of Snug Street on here.
Yeah, I split my time between the two.
And shockingly, when Maddie was, quote, missing, Stearns said he and Maddie's mom didn't leave the apartment complex to look for her.
Did you?
I find that that outrageous. That your daughter's missing, right? And the whatever you want to call Stephan Stearns, the mother's boyfriend, they called him the stepfather. But the biological mother does not go out to look for her daughter. That makes me think more and more, Mike, that she's involved. That, you know, obviously Stearns.
Well, that, and she didn't call 911 at all herself. Other people did. She was in the background just giving them information. What's up, JLRC? New subscriber. Just wanted to say I really appreciate your take on this heartbreaking case. Glad I found you. Glad you found us. Thank you. Bev, I jumped over here. Any new developments? Well, we found at the very beginning more information on Stephan Stearns' accounts, the succinct Reddit account of him doing deviant things and really disgusting. So that's what we talked about at the beginning. Now we're just talking it out because all of us need to talk about it. So we're not thinking about it all weekend. Thank you, PGH Deb 412, for gifting a membership. We appreciate you all. If I could ask the Wallace family anything, it would be, did Maddie have to sleep in a bed with you? Good question. Well, they said that with the grandma and grandpa too, which is interesting because then she slept with the grandpa, which in some cultures mean nothing. But when you take this into account, then everybody's a suspect.
Knows not to look because he knows what he did. He knows he killed her.
Right.
All right, let's go a little bit more.
In her mouth. Jen said she didn't recognize anything in the picture.
No, or not. I'm not going to go through that tonight. I don't want to.
A little down the ways from the school.
You're listening to Stephan Stearns' voice as he was being interviewed by detectives on February 27th, one day after 13-year-old Madeline SOTO disappeared. Stearns, the boyfriend of Maddie's mother, was supposed to drop her off at Hunters Creek Middle School, but said she wanted to be dropped off a couple of blocks.
All right, I do want to address Bianca Rivera because thank you for that, but Maddie did have her own room. They lived in a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, 4-bedroom, 4 bedrooms for sure, and I think it was 2 bathrooms condo. Maddie had her own room. Grandpa had a room downstairs. Maddie had a room upstairs, and then Jen had a room upstairs. So there was 4 rooms when it started happening with 3 people living in the house. She absolutely had her own room. That's insane.
Away.
She's got this phase that she's been into lately where she's very particular about what car she's seen getting out of in front of the school. She said she was going to go wait for her friends. She was going to find them and hang out and wait for her friends.
But Maddie never arrived at school. Video evidence would later, allegedly, show Stearns discarding items that included Maddie's backpack and laptop computer in a dumpster at the family's Kissimmee.
And keep in mind, Marcy, she didn't go to her funeral. Jennifer Soto didn't go to Maddie's funeral, and then they made a GoFundMe and didn't use it for the funeral because they didn't have to pay for a funeral. They got her cremated and they donated that for free. So where did that $16,000 go? Why wasn't Jen at the funeral? Why wasn't she at any of the why didn't she go to her memorial vigil, anything?
Apartment complex, and detectives later obtained security camera images that appear to show Maddie was already dead inside the car. During the recorded interview, Stearns expressed sadness at Maddie's disappearance.
At that point, my brain was mush, and I was on so many tranquilizers to keep me stable. It's just,
Do you usually take that? Or?
Yeah, I have a prescription. I haven't needed it in a long time, though. But
what's that for?
Yeah.
Anxiety.
But in the same interview, he said neither he nor Maddie's mother were out searching the night she disappeared. And he gave this explanation about why most of the information on his phone was deleted.
I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
Investigators would later retrieve images from the phone that prompted the initial charges against Stearns of sexual battery on a child under 12. Strangely, he had this concluding comment to detectives.
I don't know where my head was yesterday. It was so far up my backside.
Absolutely.
That's the interview. Up next, the new documents obtained by West 2 News. In one of them, Madeline Soto's mother explains the unusual sleeping arrangements in the home. And that's all new coming up at 5.
So that's all that.
So now we know the sleeping arrangement. She told them that she was anxious and she would say, "You and Maddie go sleep in another room. I'm tired tonight. I'm anxious. I have anxiety. I need rest." $16,000 isn't going to pay for a lawyer. It will put a down payment. It's $10,000 to get a lawyer of minimum. And that's not even a good one for a criminal case like this. All right. Let's keep going a little bit more. Let's talk this out. I think I got a lot of my key points out. And Stephan Stearns disgusts me. And Jennifer Soto, allegedly, that's all I could say. All these flags and signs that we see doesn't mean she's guilty because we don't have any evidence. Well, we have evidence that she handed her daughter to the devil because she told us.
That we've heard already about the sleeping arrangements, which most people that have listened or followed this case just find that just outrageous. And I find it that, to me, that sort of adds her to the mix of a potential an accessory to this case. I feel that she's involved. And I just can't, my police instincts, my human instincts, all of it tell me that Jennifer Soto, and we spoke about omission too, the legal failure to act when it's her legal responsibility to act. So in essence, did she ignore all of these red flags, all of these things that were going on with her young daughter? And for years, did she just ignore it because it was easier to ignore it than to pay attention to it? Mike?
Yeah, Billy, at just.
Thank you for saying that, Kimberly. Man, her lies are evidence. Absolutely. It's awesome that she lies like that and tells all those wheeze and her inconsistencies. It's absolutely evidence. Jen lied about seeing Maddie dressed at school 8 a.m. Either she lied or, well, she lied. You're right. Because Maddie probably wasn't alive then, but she might have been seeing her get dressed. She might have been dressing her. They may have killed her and then dressed her after to put her in the car and stage as she was going to school. So that she could have actually seen that, but she didn't. She left out the part of Maddie being alive. Exactly, Bobby J. Let's go forward a little bit through this. See what else. Good work, though. Please off the cuff is great.
We're not as savvy with the with the digital information. That's why you always go to your kids when you have a question with your computer or your phone, and they help you out. But my kids are far away. My son's in Denver, and my other son's in New York City. and they're not kids anymore. One's 29 and one's 32. So they don't want to hear from me. If you have a problem, you don't know how to do it. Oh, well, go read this or Google it. They'll say Google it. Right? That's the answer everyone gives you. Google it. Lieutenant Peter Pranzo, always good to see you in the chat. Lieutenant Pete, great to see you. Louis, why not neglect child abuse? Because
yeah, exactly. We're all saying the same thing. Her backpack was already in the dumpster when Jen saw her. Right. Her backpack was, but her clothes, we don't know if she was dressed, who dressed her, if she dressed herself, or what happened. Yeah, it's real. All of this stuff is just unbelievable, but it also like hurts us to our core, and that's why we're all here talking about it. There's a lot of people in here on Friday night. Some people it's midnight or a whole other time. There's 504 people in chat right now, and we're talking about things that we know or think we know. Jose Baez won't get her off necessarily. I found out Jose Baez takes these cases pro bono so that he can gain the rights afterwards to any documentaries, anything they sell, any books, any of that. So I don't know. I don't know if that's just a rumor. The other day they said defense team was going to go on ABC. That never happened. So I don't know.
Those are much lower charges than what they're facing right now, which is, well, than what Stephan Stearns is facing, which is, 60 charges of, and I won't say it because, we get censored. And
we already got
first
there.
degree. So much harder, more severe charges. Nina Chandra, I hate to say it, sir, but I was saying it from the start that the mom had something to do with Nina. I've been in that ballpark too. I always felt that the mom, I want to just play a little bit of the mom on her TV interview. And this didn't convince anyone either.
Just a little bit more, folks. Say whatever comments you want. Everything that you say is safe here. You're good. Let's listen to this and then we'll wrap it up. The dogs are barking and who knows.
Happy outcome.
What school?
Hunter's Creek Middle School.
How many questions? Is there anything that you think our viewers would need to know about the way you're feeling, the way the family's feeling, Madeline?
We're desperate for any answers, anything that you could do to help. I'm here for it. Just please, if you see my daughter, just please bring her home. I just hope you're okay, Maddie. I hope you're safe. I hope you're not hurt.
I wonder what she meant by that also when she says, if you see my daughter, please bring her home. We do know that Maddie was left out the third bush in, and it wasn't even a bush. It was like you could see right through it. All of these things in hindsight make me wonder what they meant by Vinny from Court TV has been on this case. Things been saying is great, and Dolly. Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people, and I've been covering the Vinny stuff, and Dolly is a little, he's great and big, but I don't know his content.
Just hope she's okay.
When
it does,
when did you
doesn't it?
notice that she was missing? Because this was at the beginning of the morning.
She got dropped off in the morning. We did not notice until after school.
Boom! That statement right there to me puts her in as a suspect.
That's right.
We did not know. Wait a minute. Come on. That puts her in the trick bag, as Phil Grimaldi would say.
Yes.
Pick up at 4 o'clock when I went to go pick her up, and she wasn't at school.
So we're going in 24 hours now.
Yeah.
Just about.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Nothing. No word. No text message. No messages anywhere from her. I've looked at all her social medias. I've looked at all her games she could have played with. Any app. No weird conversations. No. Nothing strange. Everything was conversations with.
Does that tell you that her mom was dumb and drugged up all the time when she's sitting there telling us all these things that she could see the apps and she knows the where the deleted goes and it doesn't seem like that to me.
Just normal friends or us.
Let's get to Stephan.
All right, the first question is if I can get your first and last name and spell them both out for me.
Stephan Stearns, Stephan Stearns.
All right, so Stephan, you seem very emotional right now. Explain to us.
I dropped her off. Everything looked fine when I drove away.
Right.
It's the last time we saw her.
What were the conversations that you had in the car when you dropped her off?
Not much. She was asleep for most of the way. Told her
Yeah, when you listen to this now, it's so creepy, everybody. Like, not only is it creepy from his side because we know what he did, but we don't know what Jen did. So we're only imagining. Like, we have all kinds of stories we're telling ourselves or each other. We don't really know. So it's just weird because we know what he did and we're hearing the things that he says, but we're like, what does that mean? What she said? Does it mean that or does it not?
They had a good day at school when she got out. I love her. She said, thanks. Love you too. That was it.
And so where do you think she could possibly be? I mean, this isn't, as I was told, this isn't normal behavior.
This is not normal behavior. She's not the type that would just run off. We don't know where she could be. And we're scared.
Shit.
We just want her home.
Are you, in a sense, blaming yourself?
It's hard not to.
Why?
I dropped her off early. They could have waited longer.
Wow.
She looked okay. She was walking towards the school when I saw her. It was like any other day, so I went on with my day.
I wonder what he means by that.
It's hard not to blame myself.
What has the conversation been with Jen since?
She's been a lot stronger than me. She's been holding it together really well. And, but it just keeps coming in waves. This is the reality. Keep dating. We don't know where she is. We don't know if she's safe.
Yes, please hit the like.
We're just scared. We just want her home.
Have you, like, literally put boots on the ground, went out?
Yeah, I even went out with the cops where I had dropped her off. And we looked all up and down the road, all in communities.
Right.
There was nothing helpful. None of the cameras reported the street. Nothing, which in 2024 was surprising. The church across the street had some cameras, and they mentioned seeing.
He's so awful at lying. It's so bad. He's too overly concerned, first of all, and then he says a lot of things that when you know what happened now, you're like, what does that mean? Like, yeah, it was my fault. I dropped her off a little early. I wonder if that meant Jen came home a little early and she walked in on them and caught them doing something, or like, I'm trying to figure out because we don't know. And then what's Jen's part in it? Some people think she actually did it or was planning it with him. I don't know. What do you think?
Waiting around in the parking lot for a while before moving on. And that was it. But it was grainy. It was grainy footage and not much else.
Does it seem like she walked west, east?
They said in the direction of the school. I'm not sure what that is.
There you go.
What was the language? Not language verbally, language, body language. When you dropped her off, did she seem happy? Was she like, I'm going to meet my friends?
Happy. She got a happy weekend. She just turned 13. She got a 13th birthday party. She was happy that we were all together here. And she's just very happy. She was a happy kid. She's very sweet. She's a very sweet girl. She brings a lot of joy to us. And we just...
At that, too.
Just not knowing.
She brings a lot of joy to us. I'm going to leave it at that.
So the unknown is coming.
Yeah, it's like our whole world is upside down.
It sure is.
Not feeling her presence here is.
You know, this performance is this obviously goes back a while.
Right.
And it was before they found the body, before Stearns got arrested, all of those things. But Barbara Butcher, the great Barbara Butcher from Homicide New York fame, from the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner of New York City, she said he's wiping no tears. There's no tears, and he's putting on this voice that I'm really upset and I'm crying. It's all a bad act. And just think that when he's on this TV interview at
and also think that they both, in the beginning, before they found her, they were both talking to the police, giving statements. So they did hand over Maddie's cell phone, I'm sure. Stephan handed his cell phone over while we listened to it, everybody. They thought they were that smart. It's crazy, but we're glad because he wouldn't have got caught so fast had they not given those interviews and done all that. Yes, he's repulsive and no deal for Jen Soto. I hope not. God, you don't know.
FTV exclusive. He killed her. He knows he killed her, and he's giving this.
All right, we know that. Let's hear last thoughts on this.
She told me she loved me too. I turned around to leave, and I was watching her in my rearview mirror. And she looked like she was walking in the right direction.
Authorities now believe Stearns murdered Soto earlier that morning at the Kissimmee apartment she shared with her mother. According to this newly released report, security camera videos showed Stephan Stearns' vehicle exiting the complex with a female wearing a green sweater in the front passenger seat. The female was slumped over to her left, which is an abnormal way for a person to be seated in a vehicle.
She brings a lot of joy. She's a very good girl. It definitely doesn't feel the same around here if she's not here.
As police were looking at Stearns' cell phone, they discovered its memory had been wiped out the same day SOTO vanished.
I don't know what the heck I did, but somehow during the massive OS update, I managed to factory.
Listen to his voice and imagine him talking to other children like that. Everybody has that voice, like portraying himself younger. Thank you, Jojo. Again, there's 509 people in chat. Please hit that like button. Let's get in the algorithm so people can share our theories and hopefully give us more content. Maybe we'll get some more interviews and see this all the way to trial and through Jen's trial. We're not going to just let this case go away. It's going to be all the way through, folks, all the way through, whether we're at the courthouse or streaming it through the courthouse, for both of them too.
Reset my phone and lose all of my contacts, all my information.
Several days after that interview, police found SOTO's body in a wooded area of St. Cloud. By then, police say they had also found several videos allegedly showing Stearns sexually molesting the girl. In one of those videos, according to this report, Stearns can be heard telling the then 8-year-old that she could not play with a phone unless she performed a sex act. Lisa and Matt.
Horrific. You know, it just...
And all of those words just got us like demonetized, which is okay because you can't tell the story without saying those things, folks. So as harsh as it is, you guys have been, probably know the case better than me in some cases. All right. On that note, I love each and every single one of you. I appreciate the new members. My voice is going. I'm tired. You guys all know I've been moving around. If you know my situation with my house, we're back here now. I had the opportunity to come on tonight, and so I did. Francesca, thank you for finding my channel, and I hope you come back. You look like a young Madonna with those sunglasses. You know what? It's so bright in here. I wear my sunglasses. No, it's bright in here, but thank you. It's like I can't be here for that many hours looking at this. Oh, all right. Make my stomach sick. I know, me too. Hashtag no deal. Take it easy. You deserve relax. And I'm going to. Francesca, thank you for being a new subscriber. Thank you all. I love each and every single one of you so much. And thank you for being here with me to work this out and get this out of my head so I can go hang out with my family, chill out, and stop thinking about all this. Yeah, they did. They did. Have a great night as well, everybody. New puppies, great. I'll have to post pictures. I'm going to go rest and get something to drink. My voice is going away. Hey, Max. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening the whole time. I hope you know everything about this case. Everybody else, have a good night.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?